I was wondering if you could explain to us exactly what House Bill 275 does.
Sure. House Bill 275 draws down approximately $3.2 billion from the Rainy Day Fund only for the purpose of balancing, or rather covering our bills for this fiscal year. So we're about to run out of money, we estimate, in July. House Bill 275 helps us to avoid the embarrassment of not paying our bills this year.
But we've also been talking about House Bill 4 in relation to all of that. What does it do exactly?
Well, House Bill 4 just puts into statute the cuts that we made during the regular session, the 5% and the 2%, and allows us to claim those cuts so that we can spend it forward in the next two-year budget cycle, 12 and 13.
Are these the additional cuts that people have been talking about this week, like $800 million?
Yeah, it's some of those. It's all of those that we can get in there. So.
Why weren't these cuts that we saw before? How were they discovered?
Well, here's the way the budget process works. You can do the cuts, but the controller can't recognize them until you change the appropriation statute, because the money has already been spent. Where you have it or not is not the issue. It's already been spent, so she has to not count it until you change the statutes in order to claim the cuts that you've made.
But Democrats did not agree with this.
We did not agree with that because House Bill 4 did more than just put the cuts already been made into statute. It actually directed agencies to dig deeper into their agencies and cut more with the remaining months left in the calendar year. It also did things like cut budgets of community colleges. And so, in effect, what we're doing is finding a way to balance our budget on their backs. Now, they have to go and find the money themselves. And as you know, they will either make more cuts at the local level, raise property taxes, or raise tuition, or some combination of the three.
Mm-hmm. We'll come back to that community college issue. I mean, is that how you see it as well?
Well, absolutely, because we're not finished this year, so we have to go ahead and claim those cuts forward. And so it is cutting forward, because those cuts that we've made, the 5% and the 2%, stay in until this 2011 year has finished, which is the last day of August.
Now, unlike HB 4, HB 275 was a unanimous vote among the Appropriations Committee, but do we have any assurance that the money that is going toward the current budget will free up any money to reduce the cuts in the next budget?
Yes. We started the year with an operating assumption that we needed to cover our expenses before the year ends. And so $4.3 billion were taken off the table to make sure that was accounted for. By drawing down on the Rainy Day Fund and by making deeper cuts, that assumption can be removed. And so the money that was set aside off the table can be put back on the table for the next 2 years.
And do you feel like that's going to be something that happens?
Oh yes, we've already done that, and so it'll show up in the budget when it's printed. It's in the printers right now.
How do you make the decision about which programs or which agencies get that additional money or less cuts?
Well, we basically divided it $2 billion for health and human services and $2 billion for education. Then we went through the process of describing where that went, and and so it's already done. It's in the new appropriations bill, and when the appropriations bill hits the floor for the members to vote on, it'll have $4.3 billion more dollars there to spend.
Representative, you've said that Governor Perry's involvement with the whole rainy day issue is rotten.
What's rotten is the deal that I believe was struck, and really I kind of feel like in many ways my Republican colleagues have just got on board with the governor. He drew a line in the sand that said no rainy day dollars are going to be used for the next 2 years. I think that is a bad idea. We have had a downturn in the economy that does explain to a certain extent why we have a hole in our budget. It's not the only reason. We do have this structural revenue shortfall, which I'll be happy to go into later, but the economy has had an impact on our tax revenue. The Rainy Day Fund, its real name, its official name, is Economic Stabilization Fund. Its purpose was to help stabilize government services, the provision of covering public education, seniors in nursing homes when the economy takes a downturn. And so to not use that emergency fund for this purpose just seems irresponsible to me.
And what do you think about that?
Well, I'm perfectly happy with using the money like we did, the $3.2 billion. It went to pay this year's turned down in economy that we did not collect from the taxpayers. We used the Economic Stabilization Fund to stabilize this year's budget. It is not a fund that you normally appropriate money out of. You only use it to cover the shortfall in this year, and I am very happy with that. And I am not going to be happy with trying to use this very unstable fund because it's only collected on the overcharge or the overprice of oil over the estimated value of oil, which is set at $80. And so we only get money into that fund when the oil price goes above what we estimated it would be. So if you start appropriating money out of that kind of funding source, you're going to always end up in the hole. So the prudent thing to do is not spend money you don't have, and this fund is set up so that we can take money out of it. If the economy stays down, we'll still be able to pay our bills, and that's very important because a family needs to pay their bills. If you're going to lose your house, you need to pay your bills. And so what this does is allow us to stay current with all of our creditors and pay our bills through 2011.
Well, I have to respectfully disagree, Warren, and I appreciate your perspective, but I think you're wrong on a couple of fronts. Number one is we have historically used the rainy day fund for situations just like this. When the economy takes a downturn, we turn to it to help stabilize the basic services that we deliver and our Texans count on us to deliver, like covering public schools, like covering higher education expenses, scholarships for students who we've told, go out, take the rigorous courses, prepare yourself for college, graduate from high school, and we're going to be there to help you afford it. With this budget, we zero out all Texas grants for 12 and 13. And so if you're a freshman in those 2 years, you're out of luck for the rest of your college career because you won't be eligible to receive a Texas grant if you didn't receive one when you were a freshman. Other services, nursing homes are going to close. I mean, this is it's raining. It's time to use the rainy day fund. In fact, as recent as 2003, the governor proposed using the rainy day fund to fund his enterprise fund, which he uses money to go out and attract corporations to, instead of relocating to a state outside of Texas, into Texas. If the fund is good enough for that, it is good enough for our children's schools and our parents' and grandparents' nursing homes.
If we aren't using it for things like that, what do you see the rainy day fund being utilized for in the future?
Well, what I see it being used for in the future is in case this economic downturn that we're in right now does not recover and we have a double dip in the economy. Because if that happens and we've appropriated that money and we're all done, then we are going to be not able to pay our bills. So it's a savings account that we use in order to pay for the appropriations that we have made, and I think that's the purpose of the fund. And let me tell you, on the House floor, there is not enough votes to be able to spend that money beyond what we have spent this time. It takes a supermajority to spend that money into the next year, and it is just not there.
But just 90 for the current budget.
That's right.
And you've got those votes, you think?
We have those votes, and I assure you that it'll pass on the floor. But if you spend one dime more, it takes a supermajority, 100 votes, and you do not have 100 votes to spend it.